All right, we are live. Hello, Grizz Nation. This has been a while. Welcome back to Fight on Montana. Adam and Luke here. It's been, since January since we've done this?
Yeah, it has been a while since we were on. But both of us have been a little busy since January. So, yeah, but it's good to be back. I mean, now that we're back, what it means, football's about back too. So
exactly, we had all these great plans of like doing, what we kind of do is with new Grizz and just like little podcasts, and that did not turn out, and things just got busy, huge. So we're glad you guys are back. Make sure that you guys check us out, rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. We are on YouTube. You can search out the FCS Fans Nation as well on there. They've got a lot of cool podcasts there. And then you can find us on Spotify, Apple, everywhere you can get your podcasts. We're there. So we are this is kind of going to be a football podcast, but we've got to give a huge shout out to the women's Grizz soccer team. Beat Oregon State, a Pac-12 opponent, 3-0. And that was a pretty handed victory there. So great job, girls. And that team is going to be good this year.
Yeah, I think we were ranked number 1 in the Big Sky to start the season too. So Coach C over there is just, man, he is good. I'm really, I mean, what a great start to this season. I can't wait to see what these girls can, do this year.
Yeah, and they play again on the 22nd, and if I'm right, that's on a Friday, I think. Maybe 22nd.
Yeah,
maybe that's Monday.
It's the 19th right now. Let me look.
19th. I can't count right now.
22nd Thursday. They're playing Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. There you go.
And that's at Washington State. So definitely, I don't know if since it's at Washington State, I don't think you'll be able to watch it on ESPN Plus. But if you can go to a bar and watch the Pac-12 network or what used to be the Pac-12 network.
I don't know what.
Do they even have who's holding their games?
I have no idea.
That's interesting.
Question. Yeah.
Because they might as well just go to ESPN Plus.
Yeah. Who knows? It could be just because it's so messed up over there. So
I'm just looking to see what would be if it has anything, but crazy. So and then the 25th they're playing MSUB, and then the 29th they're at Fresno State. So definitely go support them guys, and that's all I had about that. But
girls soccer team this year, it'll be fun to see what they can do.
If you look at just what they did last year, and what they have coming back, they could be really, really good.
Yeah.
And what's nice about it is that the Big Sky tournament's actually in Missoula this year.
Oh, it is. I didn't know that. That's finally it's not in Greeley.
Exactly. Or Flagstaff.
Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Northern Arizona. Yeah.
Flagstaff. It is on ESPN. So sorry guys, it is on ESPN Plus.
Oh, cool.
So you guys can watch Washington State 8 p.m. on Mountain Time. So definitely go check them out. That's gonna be awesome.
Very cool.
I really feel bad for Washington State and Oregon State. That's just sad. Man. All right, let's get into some football.
Very cool.
If you guys have not heard or, been really busy like Luke and I, there are some new coaches that the Grizz have, and some also that just kind of have switched positions. So the main ones, Roger Cooper is now the co-defensive coordinator. He's coaching the linebackers. And then we have Tim Houck as the co-defense coordinators, and he's coaching safeties, which is awesome to hear. Joe Pollock, hopefully I'm saying his name right. Sorry, Joe. Is coaching the offensive lineman. He's coming from North Dakota. Did a really good job there. And from what I've heard, really good teacher of the O-line, and can't wait to see what he does with some of the talent that we have there. So Scott Linehan is an offensive analyst, which if you don't know who Scott Linehan is, he's been in the NFL for what? Over a decade, probably.
Yeah, 15 years, I think. And before that, he was coaching all over college too. I mean, the man has tons of football knowledge. I was surprised when this happened. I was like, oh my gosh, like.
Well, and what's huge is those offensive analysts, they can be on the field now, and they are essentially coaches. So to have this guy as your guy that's doing the prep for the next team, but also bringing that knowledge and having him as another coach down on the field is huge.
Oh, big time. It was
huge.
I think Rainey did an interview with him earlier this week, and they was asking me, like, what do you enjoy being here? And it always cracks me up. He's like, fly fishing. I'm not very good at it, but I love it. I love being here in Montana. And then he talked about how often he used to always come to Montana because he loves being in the state because it's just beautiful. So we are lucky to have this guy on staff.
Yeah. Oh, and his son is the defensive line coach as well. So
one tidbit they were giving him a hard time at, he is an ex-Idaho Vandal. So, we don't play Idaho in the regular season this year, but there's a good chance that, we could meet up in the playoffs or something. So I just thought that was funny. And he's like, yeah, no, that stuff all out the window. He's a Grizz through and through right now. So
that's awesome. And then Mike Hudson coming back. You guys haven't heard Mike Hudson. He's been here in the great 2000s. And then he's going to be our defensive analyst. So kind of the same with what Scott's doing, but on the defensive side of the ball as well. So and I don't know too much about Mike. I know that Hudson, he was here in the 2000s when we had a lot of those great runs. And I've heard he's been basically everywhere in college football as well. So
like a typical coach, sometimes they do a lot of bouncing around and, looking for that next opportunity. So,
So that is your coaching staff, guys. A lot of great coaches, a lot of knowledge. And so hopefully they can, throw things at each other. And I think that I heard a podcast, I think by Riley, that they talked to Coach Alex and saying that they throw ideas. And if you can't handle the kitchen and not get your feelings hurt, then you're not going to do very well in their coaching staff. But with that much knowledge, you would have to know your stuff and not get your feelings hurt, because people are going to turn you down with that much of knowledge there. Man, I can't imagine. I wish I could be a fly on the wall.
Right? I know. It's just like, it's so cool for our players to have all that stuff and just be able to be coached up and taught by these guys. So
exactly. Let's go into some preseason awards, guys. There are a ton of preseason awards, so we're not going to go into all of them. So I know I'm probably going to miss some because there are a lot of them. So if you look at, Riley Wilson, he's a Buck Buchanan Award on the watch list. Junior Bergen's on the Walter Payton Award watch list. I know that Junior Bergen is also second team wide receiver on the All-America team for the Phil Steele. Brandon Casey, second team. Cole Grossman, fourth team. Trevin Gradney, first team defense. Riley Wilson, third team on the Phil Steele. Junior Bergen is first team all-purpose. He's also second team punt returner on that Phil Steele. Big Sky Conference, you're looking at Eli Gilman, first team. Junior Bergen, first team. Keelan White, first team. Brandon Casey. Cole Grossman's a second team. Journey Grimsrud, second team. Nick Othmo, third team. Aaron Fonts, third team. Liam Brown, third team. So, those are just a little bit of those. You've got a lot of talent back. And a lot of talent that you can kind of see has had some reps there, and also some that maybe have seen a little bit, like Isaiah Childs, that we'll get into, like defense. I think we're going to probably stay more offense to this one, guys, and then we'll go into another one with defense. But Isaiah Childs is no longer a running back. He's a linebacker, which I've heard is he's going to probably be in that 2 deep and play special teams.
Well, he did really well in special teams last year. So when I heard that, it didn't surprise me. Like I'd been hearing a lot of rumblings that either safety or linebacker. I think with his size, he fits perfect in that linebacker room.
Yeah, definitely. So I know we probably have missed some. I'm not trying to miss any of those guys that have been on there. I'm just trying to see one that maybe I haven't mentioned. Ryder Meyer, second team. Jackson Lee, third team. Cooper Barnum, third team. Grayson Peibel, second team. I think Ryan Tyrrell, first team linebacker. So I think I've got kind of
nice to see all the names. Like,
right.
I think in the last few years we'd have a few here and there, but like it just shows you when you make a national championship, like, and you're getting all these guys back, all that extra experience, all that extra time, that you got to play versus everybody else in the league. There's only really us in South Dakota State that got all that extra experience. Yeah, that helps going forward to this next season. And I mean, you can just tell with all these, preseason accolades and stuff.
Yeah. And then if you go, Big Sky rankings, we're ranked number 1 in the Big Sky on the coaches and the media poll, followed by the Cats, the Vandals, UC Davis, and Sac State. And so those are the kind of the rankings that happened at the Big Sky Media Day.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I think I might have a little bit different rankings, but if you had to, I don't know, this is kind of going off script. I probably didn't tell you this, Nick, but who would your top 5 be?
The top 5, well, I'd have us for sure.
Yep.
And then the Cats, then probably Idaho, like they have it.
Okay.
And then after that, I'm a little torn between, like, I think Davis probably as 4, and then 5, I'm thinking either Weber or Eastern. Like,
okay.
Those are my 2 kind of at that 5 spot, I would say.
Okay. My first 2 would be the same. Grizz, Cats. I would flip, and I think they're kind of flippable. Idaho and UC Davis, I think, are really flippable. I think UC Davis has a little bit more of the guys that you like, quarterback and running back that are coming back that could really help them.
Right.
And then I think you probably have Sac State just because they have the quarterback there. And he's a little bit more veteran.
Right. I forgot about Sac. Sac could be sitting right there. Those, I think, between Weber, Eastern, and Sac, that's me, that they're all kind of right there.
They're all right there. Then that's what I was going to say. I think that 5A and 5B would be that Sac and Eastern, because I think that Eastern has been really quiet for too long, and I think that they could have one of those years where they exceed expectations.
Right.
It's just going to be how they play defense.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I know, like last year, their schedule was just brutal.
And
just kind of put them down and kept them down. But they're one that always, I mean, even though they have financial issues, I still always keep my eye on those rascals over there.
Exactly right. Well, we have to go there, and we have yet to beat them on the red turf. So that's going to be a game to watch. So
absolutely.
Guys, let's go into the schedule because there's a lot of good games. I would have to say, and I think we got the last couple of years, I think we got kind of beat up by our schedule being easy. I think by no means is this an easy schedule, especially our non-conference. Our conference schedule, we've got a little bit more easier than we have in the last couple of years. But you look at Missouri State. I know Missouri State's not ranked high in the Missouri Valley.
They're not good.
No, they are not good. They have a lot of guys that are either transferring in or they're very, very young. And I think you kind of question on, hey, they're going to the FBS. Where are their heads?
So little tidbit with that. I now have Missouri as part of the area that I manage for work, and I go to Springfield. And so I've been asking them when I'm there, like, what do they think of Missouri State? And everybody just can't understand why they're moving to FBS. And they are all like, yeah, we don't want to play the Grizz. This is going to be bad. Like that's all I hear is just like, yeah, we're going to get crushed.
Yeah.
Their fans are not confident at all. So that's going to be a night game, blackout game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
that's gonna be a hard game.
That could get ugly in a hurry.
Mm-hmm. And I think it will. I think you've got to be at least 2 touchdown favor there.
Yeah.
So, I think in the blackout that's gonna be really cool. I loved how they did that the last year with Ferris.
It would be cool if they had black helmets this year too.
I know, right?
Like I've been hearing some rumblings, so we'll see.
That would be really cool.
Pretty awesome. So, like
I'm waiting for them to do the turquoise. Wouldn't that be badass?
That would be cool. Yeah, that would be really cool. So, I know people have thrown that at Haslam a few times. Like, hey, basketball's doing it. Why not football? So
exactly. Even if you do that during, because I know they have, don't they have like indigenous people or Native American, Native American heritage game? Yeah. Wouldn't that be kind of cool to do it then?
Cool. And maybe that's the reason why we have that this year.
Right? Like that would be really cool.
Could be, So that's the cool thing when you start going to national championships, you get a little bit more money and stuff. And sometimes all of a sudden new buildings are getting built and the team's getting new stuff and you get extra jerseys. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
It will be. You get a night game there at 7 p.m. On ESPN Plus. Then you go to Grand Forks at North Dakota, September 7th. That's a 5 p.m. kickoff. That's a Scripps game. So if you get Scripps Sports, you probably get that. And it's also on ESPN Plus as well. So North Dakota, I think they're ranked anywhere between 23 to 24 this year. Yeah. They've lost some really key. They lost their quarterback. I think he's like at Michigan State, actually. If I remember right, he's like a backup there. And we took their offensive line coach.
So we'll get some good insight from their offensive line coach too.
Exactly. So I think that, just talking this through, I feel a little bit more comfortable with that game.
Yeah.
I was saying to Luke that, that game kind of just worried me just because, playing two quarterbacks, I know that from all what I've heard, Bobby, is they're going to do the kind of the same thing of what they wanted. They want, iron sharpens iron. I don't
believe a damn thing he's been saying about that.
I don't either. But that's what he said last year too. And look at what we got.
Yeah. He kept saying we did get the two quarterback thing this year. But last year also, the reason they played Ayat was because they knew he was the future. So I don't know. My money's on that. I think Ayat's going to be the guy. So,
I would be very, very surprised if it wasn't. Yeah. Let's just say that.
But I think they are going to have packages for Huat and for Fife.
Yeah.
Because Fife he's just built totally different.
He's really stocky.
Yeah, he reminds me like a Tebow almost.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they come out with there. But I really do think, my money's on Ayat being the guy.
Yeah. I totally agree with that as well. So that's why I was kind of nervous with that. If they're playing another, I don't like the two quarterback system. Either just go with a guy and figure it out, or it just.
Hopefully we learned our lesson after last year's NAU incident. So
yeah, that was horrible. But in turn, it did help us, pull 10 off. So
yeah, exactly.
I'd gladly have that happen again if we can do the same thing.
If we get to go to the national championship again.
Yeah. That next one. So you think that's a win, right? I think that's a win.
Yeah, I think it's a win. Yeah.
Missouri State, I think it's a win. So 2-0 headed into Morehead State. Honestly, guys, I have no clue anything about Morehead State.
They're not good.
I heard they're very, 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 very to the bottom of the because they're FCS, aren't they?
They are.
They're new. They're like newly FCS.
Yeah, I think they're in the Pioneer League. So Morehead State is actually right across the river from North Dakota State. They're in right there in Fort Fargo. They're just across the border over there.
Oh wow,
it's right there, and that area supports the Bison, not this team. So I mean that should be another W for us.
You should be 3 touchdowns at least.
Yeah. Then that next game was at West Carolina University.
Yeah, Western Carolina.
I don't know a lot about that team.
They have a quarterback, Goodere. I think it's like I'm going to say his name wrong, but the quarterback's going to be one of the top. I think he's probably in the Walter Payton kind of watch list. He's a good quarterback. He had a good year last year. I'm looking up his name right now. But they like to throw the ball. They did lose one of their really good running backs, and so it'll be kind of interesting to see what they do this year without that.
End of September, they're coming from Carolina. That's a long road trip for them. So
yeah.
I'm glad that we're playing them at home, just because I don't know a lot about them. But I think that's a W.
I think it is too. I think it's going to be a closer game than people think. Just because I know, Western Carolina, they should have been in the playoffs last year. They just should have. They got hosed on where they Chattanooga. And this is my opinion, I don't think they should have been in. I think Western Carolina should have been in.
Sure.
And so I'm trying to, goodness gracious, their site is like going nuts. Their quarterback here, forgot his name. But anyways, I think that they've got some pieces coming back. I think that he's going to have a hard time. Cole Gonzalez. So he's 6 foot 195 from Ocala, Florida. And so I know that they do have a good quarterback. They do like to throw the ball. A lot of the teams, I know if you listen to like the Blue Bloods podcast by Zach McKinnell, he's really high on them. Some of the other guys are really high on Western Carolina.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good game.
I think that's going to be our first kind of big test. But I know we're not going to talk a lot of defense, but our DBs, I feel, are really good this year, both in the safety area and the corners. So,
well, and you go into that, and I think we'll go into that. You lose what you lose, but then you just kind of regain what we have.
We reloaded. Since we're talking about it, I just want to read something that Coach Houck said today, because he doesn't say this sort of thing. Sean Rainey was interviewing him, and he says, "I'm comfortable with that group." Houck never says that, like in public. He's talking about the safety and stuff. And you got Timmy coaching them. So we got depth there, and so that's just the safeties. Then you look at the
quarterbacks.
And we just got Prince Ford, who I think is going to be a big splash this year. Like, I've heard people saying they think he's better than his brother was, which I'm like, Justin was amazing. So we'll see what Prince does, but I can't wait to watch him on the field. So
and then you also have don't we have a guy from Utah that I heard is legit?
Yeah.
We've added quarterbacks,
some very good pieces, and then like the one new safety we added too. What's his name? Krishan Gordon.
Yeah.
He's a senior from Oceanside, California. That dude played safety and corner, and from what they've said in different interviews and people going to camp, this kid's like looks the part, like looks legit, and is going to be a really big asset to our defense. So
the guy I was thinking about was sorry, I'm looking right now.
There you go.
Kenzel Lawler. I think we got him from number 8 from Utah. So he's a junior this year, transferred out of Utah. I've heard he's really good. You've got Gradney there still.
It's loaded. And then we were talking about Childs getting moved to linebacker.
Yeah.
Well, part of that's because our running back room is so loaded now. It's just it's crazy. Like, think about that. How he was a good running back that could probably for a lot of teams, and we're gonna have him play linebacker now. It's like holy cow. So
and just to kind of go back to cornerbacks, you've got Ronald Jackson there still.
Yeah.
Which he got some time last year. You've got Prince Ford, Kenzel Lawler. You've got, I've been hearing some really good things about, he probably won't play, but Keon Loud. He's a freshman out of San Mateo. Even then you've got Trevin Gradney there as well. So you've got at least 2 deep there on quarterbacks.
And that's the great thing is with that depth, everybody's fresh legs. I mean, that is huge when it comes to that position. So so that's where, I mean, like, I'm excited for that Western Carolina game, because if they are going to throw the ball a bunch, then we can really, show out with these boys. So
exactly. And that's a 1 p.m. kickoff. I am hoping to get to that game.
Cool.
We'll see if that actually happens. But that's also the Hall of Fame induction too. So that would be a cool game to go to.
We got Gurns going in and McFarland.
Yep, and Anderson.
And Anderson, yep. So pretty awesome.
And I heard Colt, that's his bye week too, so he'll be able to be at that game. So
that's great.
He's actually he's coaching for the Titans this year, so that's kind of cool. So the next week, that week is Eastern Washington. That's a 6 p.m. kickoff. It's on ESPN Plus. We haven't beaten them since they've had that red field, which feels like forever.
Yeah, we owe them a big L on that field.
Yeah.
Like you said, that's the one game that just makes you nervous just because we haven't freaking won there. So that's the only reason I'm like, but if there was ever a year that we should just go in there and smash them, it's this year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. And those 3 games, Western Carolina, Eastern Washington, and you've got Weber State that next week. Those are going to be some tough games.
Yeah.
Not hugely tough. We're going to be favored in those games. If you're on a betting standpoint, we should win those games. You're going to be favored in all of them. You'll probably be favored in all your games the whole year, except for maybe the last one.
Yeah.
And so I think we pull off the win at Eastern Washington.
I think so too. Yeah.
That next week. So when is our bye week? Holy cow, we don't have a bye week till later, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's all right. I don't mind the later bye week to get guys healthy, especially if you're planning on going deep into
January,
November, December, January.
Yeah. So that'd be October 5th game. It's at Washington Grizzly Stadium, so that's nice to have that. And so I think that's the pink game, so that's gonna be kind of cool too. So I think that we're gonna be favored in that game. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from Weber State, because I really think they've hit the fan, and I think they're still an okay team.
Yeah, I think they're okay too.
It's not like what they had with Jay Hill.
Right. I think they'll be a middle of the road Big Sky team this year.
Yeah.
Middle to upper. I just don't know what they got there. So
yeah. And I think they're not going to be as
at home. So
what's that?
Yeah, we're playing in Missoula. So
yeah, I don't think they're going to be as good as Eastern Washington or Sac State.
Yeah,
they're going to probably be after those teams. And then you've got I think that's a win there. You think that's a win there?
Yeah, I'm saying W over Weaver.
Okay. The next week, that's a revenge game, man. Northern Arizona.
We owe them a little bit here.
You got homecoming. So yeah, that's a game winner. That should be a W.
It should be a W. I mean, never say never, but that one, I think that one's on the list this year of, hey, we owe them one. So
well, and they've got a new coach coming in as well.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be a hard get. So I think that's a win there. You go to Northern Colorado, which you play in a high school stadium in Greeley. So
yeah, I'm actually going to be at that game. I already got my ticket.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
And we're actually I'll announce it right now. We bought a tailgate spot too. Me and some other Grizz alum. So I just found out today they announced all the road tailgates. They're going to have a road tailgate there as well. GSA is.
Nice.
Association. So they'll have that one, but we're also going to have one too. So people can go back and forth.
Awesome. Nice.
Should be a good time.
Yeah, definitely.
And then for anybody going, everybody sit on the visitor side. It's like sections R, S, and T. We sit next to the band, and they do serve beer at that stadium. So
they do.
Yeah. Yep. You'd be surprised. A lot of Grizz alum live in the Denver area come up for that game. And it's a good time. So if you can make it down to that one, You should, and we should just put on a show that day. So
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So that's October 26th. And you've got that next week. You go to San Luis Obispo to play Cal Poly, which Cal Poly's horrible.
Yeah.
They had, what's his face as a quarterback, and then I think he transferred out, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. It's they're a bit of a mess right now. That should be a pretty those two games, Northern Colorado and Cal Poly, should be pretty easy W's, which is good because I think the first one of the toughest games this year is that next one on November 9th.
Yeah. Well, then you got a November 9th game at Washington Grizzly Stadium on ESPN2 at 8:15 against UC Davis, which that's going to be a hard game.
Yeah, I mean, UC Davis, if they do things right, they should be, in that top 10 area. They could be. I mean, they'll be in the top 25, but they could be in that top 10,
at least top 15.
Yeah, at least top 15. So there's a reason why they want to put that game on ESPN too.
Exactly.
And
just to let you guys know why UC Davis is really high is, they've got Lan Larison, their running back, which is a beast. Mm-hmm. He only played 6 games last year, and he was over some crazy number of yards with being hurt. They've got their quarterback. I can't remember his name. I always forget his name. Hastings. Is it Hastings?
I think that's right. Yeah, I can't remember.
Which last year he was up and down. I think he was trying to do too much, threw the ball away so many times. But I think that's just because he didn't have his safety net with Lan Larison there. So
it'll be interesting too because his new coaching staff. So to see how Davis looks this year. So
isn't it the oh no they had what's his face there one last year. So it's a new coaching staff, but doesn't the coach have ties though there?
I think so.
He's been there before. I'm on their page to see what their coach is his name. So let's see. Tim Plow. I think he's been there before.
Yeah.
And I know he's been in the Big Sky. It's his first season as the head coach, but he was the quarterbacks coach, offensive coordinator from 2010 to 2012 at UC Davis. Went to Northern Arizona from 13 to 16, then went back to UC Davis from 17 to 20, and then was at Boise State for 2 years, and then he was at Cal doing tight ends in 2023. So he's got the notoriety of knowing, UC.
Yeah, he knows the Big Sky and stuff.
Yeah.
Hero Sports has Davis finishing 5th in the conference, behind
5th.
Yeah, okay. Montana State, Idaho, Sac State, then Davis.
See, and I think
so.
Yeah, and I think that you look at Idaho and you look at UC Davis, and I think you can kind of switch those interchangeably, just because Idaho lost a lot of people.
They did.
They lost a lot.
They did. Yeah. X-Men did a pretty good job of bringing people in, though, too. So,
I just don't know how you lose that many people and you just plug holes that big.
I'm interested to see where they end up. Is it Idaho just back or not? I mean, at the same time, I'm bummed that we're not playing them during the regular season, but at the same time, I'm like, whatever, that's fine.
And even if they don't do too well in the Big Sky, you could probably see them in either second round game.
Yeah.
If they're going to do it, and I don't know too much about, I know that they're seeding the top 16, but I don't know if they're going to do usually they do it geographically.
I heard they won't now this year.
They aren't because of that?
That's what I heard. That's part of the reason to go into 16, that they weren't going to do that. So
that would be nice.
We won't have the regional bias where, we're playing
North Dakota State.
South Dakota State right away or something. So
that would be nice. Because I hated that. That's so stupid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get it, how it used to be, but now it's it doesn't matter anymore. So,
you've got Big Sky and you got Missouri Valley Conference that are in the same geographic area, and those are two of the best.
I think that's part of the reason why they're finally okay, we can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So,
so going on here. Sorry, guys, I lost my.
Then after Davis at home, then we got Portland State at home, which who knows with Portland State? I mean,
well, yeah, well, and this is just a question for me. I want to know what you think. Do you think Bernie is Barnum is on the hot seat?
So I don't think so, because Barney does a good job at Portland State, and they're happy with what he's doing, like with what he's got. I mean, recruiting to a high school football stadium, field, and then other weight rooms really got good. I've always heard that they got a great weight room, but I think for what he has to work with, they're just fine with it. That's why I don't think he's on the hot seat, and they like him, and so yeah. I mean, he could be, but I don't see it. If he does get fired, he'll end up being like our defensive analysis. That's what happens.
Well, and
offensive analysis or something. So
they have to play games. Like their schedule is.
They're always big on them money games, so they always have those money games where they can go, make a little coin for their team. So,
well, and I'm just looking at their schedule here, trying to pull it up here, guys. They play Washington State, then they go and play Weber State, South Dakota, Boise State.
Oh, jeez.
And then they play Chattanooga, UC Davis.
Oh, my.
Idaho State, Montana State, Sac State, Idaho, and then the Grizz.
Yeah.
So literally, they could go into that game, our game, and not have won a game.
Yeah,
because Idaho State,
I think they'll beat Idaho State, but
they have that Idaho State still has that quarterback there that was pretty legit.
They're getting better, but I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's just I can never tell with Portland State how they're going to be.
Yeah,
I might think they're going to be bad. Next thing you know, Barney's got them playing. They're pulling off wins they shouldn't win. So, in either way. In Missoula, we should have that one won and be 11-0 heading into the Brawl of the Wild. So
well, and we don't have a bye week. If I'm reading this right, are you seeing this? Oh, we do. Nope. Oh,
we got a bye week.
14, 21, 28, 5, 12. Oh yeah, we do. It's between. Sorry. My bad. It's between Northern Arizona and Northern Colorado.
Yeah,
it's the middle of October. Sorry, guys. Yeah. I was like, it was playing tricks on me. So, and then you've got the game noon at Los Angeles.
Yep.
That's just going to be hard. That's a hard one to pick, just because lately in the rivalry series, the home team has gotten.
Yeah, it hasn't even been going back and forth. And really, I think that's game. It really could be this where both teams are undefeated going into that game. It could happen. Yeah. And there's a really good chance that's going to be for the Big Sky Conference Championship again. Yeah. So that's going to be a huge game. I still think
the only thing I can see with that game, guys, is I don't buy what they have coming and backing up Tommy.
Yeah.
If Tommy cannot put a full season together, they're going to have a hard time winning some games.
And the way they run that poor kid and stuff, and he gets beat up, it's just, but that time of year,
Yeah.
That's with anybody. So like right now, I could see us going best record 12-0, middle of the road 11-1, and our worst record be 10-2. But that being said, that's with no like crazy injuries or anything, everybody's staying healthy and stuff like that. Even though we have a lot of depth, there's still things that could happen, and that's we just hopefully don't have any. Hopefully we it'd be nice to have a quarterback that could play the full season and not be hurt
season
too. And just I'm hoping that the guys are good and healthy this year. And we don't play Idaho and we don't play Sac, and they're two of the top teams in the league this year. So, really, when I say 10-2, it's, Montana State and maybe Davis, or if we flub at Eastern, it's like the rest of these games, they should be W's. So
and Davis is at home.
Yeah.
Western Carolina is at home. Weber's at home. The only hard one that you've got is Eastern Washington at Eastern Washington.
Eastern, and technically North Dakota could be more difficult, but I don't think that's going to be. I think we'll,
If we're going into that game,
if we're going to be as good as I think we should be, we should take them out. So
we should. And then you kind of just hope that they keep on winning too, because I think that kind of helps our status, which it's going to be really, 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 really interesting this year, guys. Between the top 4 teams, you could have all those teams go 11-1.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
And then you're looking at South Dakota State. I know, right? South Dakota State and North Dakota State, are there 1 losses, against Colorado? North Dakota State playing Colorado, or I think South Dakota State plays Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Well, those don't. If they do, they're not going to hurt. They're not going to hold them against them.
No. This is my thing though. Is if the Cats, right? The Cats are favored. The last time I checked, by 9. They are favored by 9 against New Mexico.
Oh, it was 10.5 earlier today.
Okay, so it's gone up.
Yeah.
If they lose that game,
well, that's...
do you move them down?
Yeah. Yes.
You have to.
You have to, because of
they're favored that much at that stadium.
If like North Dakota State loses to Colorado, they won't.
No, they shouldn't move down.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. But it's just because who they're playing and how much they're favored.
Yeah.
You'd have to move the Cats down.
Like this year, I'm so glad we don't have a D2 school on here. Like, I know. Right? I just hate that. So it's nice that we've got all FCS, and technically Missouri State will be an FBS next year. So let's send them packing the right way.
Well, and didn't they just say that they're not playing us the following year?
Yeah, we were supposed to.
We were supposed
to do home and home stuff, but because they're moving to FBS,
they didn't want to play us.
Yeah,
they didn't want to go to FBS and then have a loss.
They'd probably have to pay us more money too because of that, because we'd have to go there. And I was actually hoping we'd go because I could make a little work trip out of it. And
there you go,
catch them in there. But unfortunately,
nice. So I totally agree with you, Luke. 11-1. 12-0, 10-2, that area. Yeah. If we don't make those marks, I think it's because we've had some injuries.
Injuries are we can't have that. Hopefully we don't have that NAU game that we had last year. It feels like we're much more, on track this year especially having all those extra practices and the experience of going to national championship. And, and now too, we're not talking about, is Bobby going to be here next year? What's happening there? We talked about that a bunch last year. So now we have to worry about that. And it's just like things feels pretty cemented, I'm looking forward to it. There's a reason why we didn't mention this, but the FCS coaches poll and stats poll has us both at number 3 in the nation behind the Jacks and the Bison. So I kind of thought that's where they'd have us too. Even though we beat the Bison last year, just because of their history, it doesn't surprise me that they had them as 2. Yeah. Then us as 3, and then the neighbors at 4. So, but really, that seems right now, that's the race right now. It's those 4 are racing to the finish line. So,
and NDSU has a lot coming back. And I think a lot of that goes with, they've got Cam Miller coming back. A lot of it is kind of, okay, who, Grizz Nation knows what we have in quarterbacks. I don't think outside of the Big Sky, you think, but I think we've got some good guys. Let's go into the offense, man.
Sure.
If you're counting your returning starters, you've got, I think I counted 7 returning starters. I don't know if you call Cole Grossman a returning starter since he didn't play last year, but I did.
I would call him a returning starter because he would start at any program in the country.
Exactly.
Did you see the catch he made the other day that they posted on Twitter? My God, he is a crazy. This guy is a freak, and now we have him, and he can be that outlet for Ayat, and just between him and Junior,
I expect Cole Grossman to be the security blanket for Ayat and have a huge year. And just the way that he looks like he's to his old self. Just how physical he is. It's going to be one thing I'm worried. So I'm going to go to the pessimist area. We have a lot of guys, right? We have a lot of guys. You're going to see they're still saying Xavier Harris is going to be our running back, but I don't believe it. I think he's going to be in the wide receivers, and I've seen him do some wide receivers as being like kind of a backup to Bergen. Which I think that would be great, getting him in space and using.
I think there'll be packages where they line him up as a running back and have him sprint out, and they're doing screen passes, because when you get him out in the open field, that's where he's doing his best.
Oh, exactly. But how do you find touches for these guys? You got Nick Osmo,
Keelan White,
Eli Gilman, Stevie Rocky Jr., which was legit in the spring game. You have Xavier Harris, and then the one that I've been hearing that the freshman I hear is legit is that Fontenot. Which I hear.
That's part of the reason all those names you just read up. That's why Childs is no longer a running back. It was like, we need to, and he's a talented guy, so we need to get him, playing time, and he did so well in the special teams area. So by taking Childs out of the running back room, more special teams linebacker, we just have so much talent there in that running bed. So we're going to have to find packages where we have multiple guys and we're running them. And I mean, like you said, we got to get these guys touches, but then you go to the outside and you got Junior, Keelan, Grossman. I mean, it's just like, Ryan Simpson still.
Sawyer Racanelli.
Yeah, Racanelli. I mean,
Simpson.
We have so many weapons out there. It's like, holy cow. You got to find touches. And that's why I think really with Linehan there too, being this offensive analysis, he can look at our talent and be like, okay, let's look at the team we're playing. Where can we, what do we need to expose? And so one week we might see us just throwing the ball everywhere because that's what that other team's giving us. Or the next week we're just pounding the rock and just, run. And so I think this season offense, really it's going to be, what does that other team give us? Where's their weakness? And we're going to exploit that weakness. And so our offense could look different from week to week because of that.
I think you've got a good point there, just because you look at just getting touches to guys. Mm-hmm. You're going to want 5 to 8 touches to Bergen and to Grossman and to Keelan White.
You've got to get those guys touches.
You've got to. Yeah. One thing that's going to help us is we're not going to hopefully running the quarterback as much. Yeah. And I think that, we had anywhere from 11 to about 15 rushing plays from the quarterback. You cut those and you kind of divvy those up. That kind of gives you some room there too for touches.
And as long as our experienced offensive line can offer the protection and stuff. Yeah. I mean, with all those weapons, you don't need a quarterback that's going to. But the thing is Ayat can run if he needs to. Like we've seen him. Yep. And he's elusive enough to have that kind of sixth sense, like his dad did, where he can feel those guys coming. So, I just really think that with the talent we have, there's no need to get him down and getting hit and stuff. It's just get the ball to our playmakers that are all over surrounding him. Yeah. And let them do what they do. I mean, that's all he needs to do. Just distribute the ball. That's all he needs to do.
Yep. So it's going to be really interesting. And then you look at the tight ends too, right? You got Cole Grossman, Schaefer, Barker, and then you've got Olsen there as well. You've got 4 deep there.
Yeah, Schaefer, man, that guy likes to truck people. I mean,
And Barker is like that too.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we might see some more 2 tight end fronts, and who knows? We might see this is something too we could see is where they're taking Grossman and doing the Travis Kelce with him, where they're actually putting him out at a receiver position and running him down the field and stuff. And think of that mismatch if the other team's putting a linebacker on him out there. Yeah. Good night. I mean, that's
you could probably have three tight end formations where you're putting Cole Grossman out to the flat.
You totally could. And it's like, it's just going to, that's why I think having Linehan in there working with Pease instead of everybody going, hey, have you ever tried this? Look at the talent we have. We could do, things that you're like, oh, we can never. It's like, oh my God, we have the talent. Let's do this. They've never seen this offensive formation before.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting. It's really interesting because we've got a lot of seniors on this team. I think that I heard like anywhere from 25 to 30 seniors on this team.
We got a lot of those COVID kids now that are, that are finally getting to be that senior. So I think a lot of teams like us are going to have heavy senior classes this year because of that.
Yep. Hopefully we get some repetitions and some to these younger guys as well, just because of what's going to happen next year, right?
Yeah.
So I think
that's looking at the schedule with some of these games that should be blowouts. That the great thing about that is then you can get your young kids in, get them playing time, and that's so crucial. I mean, you love letting your older guys play, but really, we want to blow people out so the older guys can rest, and then we can play them when it comes playoff time.
Exactly.
And get that experience to these younger kids. So
So guys, what you're looking at, let's go into kind of like just set the breakdown a little bit. Quarterbacks, you've got Keely Ayat, Logan Fife, Caden Hewitt, and then you've got Luke Flowers and Gage Slider that are freshmen. I think it's probably, and I think Luke, you've mentioned this too, it's a 3-guy kind of rotation. I think it's probably a 2-guy rotation where you're going to see probably Caden a little bit on special things that you're going to do, but probably just a 2 rotation there. And you've got Ayat, that's a redshirt freshman, Fife, that's a redshirt junior, and Hewitt, that's a redshirt sophomore. Yeah. So from all perspective right now, you could probably have all 3 of those guys coming back next year as well.
I mean, in spring, Hewitt looked the best. So
he did.
And I've heard he's looked good too, in camp. So it's going to be, I mean, I think Ayat's the guy, but it'll be interesting to see who that 2 spot is.
Exactly. Running backs, we've talked about this. You've got Nick Osmo, Eli Gilman, Stevie Rocker Jr., who had the phenomenal spring game. Xavier Harris, which we've kind of mentioned what we think is going to happen there. And then the freshman, which I don't think he's going to get time. He might get a couple, like what
they could do, like what they did with Ayat last year.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I was going to point to, is they can kind of get him a couple games. But I'm just trying to.
Then once it comes playoff time, it doesn't matter. You can play as much as you want. So it's
exactly.
Yeah.
But a lot of good guys there as well. Just trying to get his name. Sorry, guys.
Kanate.
Yeah.
Kanate?
There you go.
Kanate?
Yeah. I heard he is a beast.
Yeah.
5'11", 200. That's
the Hawaii.
Yeah.
So glad to recruit Hawaii again. I just love that.
Right? And he played, and from what I've heard, he played like some good Hawaii football where you've heard the names of Tua Vailoa and all those guys that have played in that upper division of Hawaii, the open division. There you go. Yeah. So, man, and then wide receiver, right? Junior Bergen, Ryan Simpson, Keelan White, Sawyer Recanelli, Aaron Fonts. Those are the seniors. Those are all seniors that are going to be trying to get time on the field and how you use them. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. And then you got guys like Drew Deck too out there.
Yeah. Sam Alford.
Yeah.
Yep. They brought a couple other guys in there that
we got that. Was it BJ Phillips, that transfer too?
Yep. BJ Phillips. Yep. You got him, that he's a redshirt junior. You've got some of the freshmen that I don't think they're going to.
You got Cameron Guernsey, who will probably get a little. I'm excited to see Gerns play. I mean, there's
Ian Finch, Drew Clumph.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard time to get on the field. We've kind of went over the tight ends: Cole Grossman, Evan Schaefer, Jake Olson, Eric Barker. you've got some talent on this team.
And the good thing is then that means our special team should be pretty solid.
Yeah, and that's the one thing too I was going to mention too is that kind of helps us in that area too, just because we've got so many guys. Well, hey, if you want to play special teams is where you're at.
At the U, we take special teams serious, so it's like it's it's a really important part of our game plan. And I mean, guys pride themselves in being able to get on that team and play special teams. So this is kind of just totally off subject, but have you seen the new NFL kickoff? Every time I watch it, it's like they line up 5 yards apart and kick it deep. I'm just like, oh my gosh, if they would do that in college, junior would have a chance to get a touchdown every time. Like, it's just, I see that. I'm like, oh my gosh. I don't think they're doing that in college, but yeah, they line everybody up 5 yards apart and they kick it deep. And then that, so they can't do the running and hitting. And so it's just a bunch of like mainly linebackers and wide receivers, people all trying to block like a punt more. And it's just going to allow for a lot more big plays on that kickoff. And so.
Oh, don't they have to tell you if they're going to do an onside kick?
Yeah, they would have to do that.
That's so stupid.
Yeah. But it's pretty exciting.
My cards.
I just, if they ever did develop that, and I think it gives I guess where I'm going with this, I think it gives Junior an even better shot of making it in the NFL because of his talents returning the ball.
True.
Like he could be a game changer for a team. And I'm excited to see, the excitement that he showed us last year in the playoffs and stuff. And oh my gosh, like I can't wait to see what he can do this year. Holy. But if anybody even will kick to him, like
I don't think
he's going to be dumb enough to do that, but someone will. Oh, he's not that good, and then they find out,
Yeah. Well, and I think that you put somebody back there, maybe like an Aaron Fonts, that could kind of match him and say, okay, pick your poison. That's where I think you might get more of the someone to kick to him. But
we've done plenty of that where you kick it to the one guy and then they cross and pitch.
Hand it up. Yep.
There he goes. So
it's gonna be an interesting. I can't wait for it to be here. It feels like it should be here already.
Well, technically this is week 0 and some teams are playing.
Aren't the Cats playing?
Straight. Yeah, they're playing that in New Mexico. So
that's crazy.
I think Delaware's playing too. But
Delaware State.
No, I think maybe it's Delaware State. Because Delaware moved up, didn't they?
Delaware State. Yeah, Delaware Blue Hens are moving up.
Yeah. Which
is nuts.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's all I had, man. I think we're going to go into, defense. All right, let's go to the O-line. We almost forgot the most important part, man. Because we bring back some guys.
Like Grimsrud and Casey are both back, and they got
Brown. You've got Liam Brown.
They both have experience.
Starts. You've got Pamphilov, who's had some starts. You've got Cade Klimzak, the Central Michigan transfer that has had some. He was like all MAC for a while, I believe. And then you've had Declan McCabe had some. I think he had some starts when Forbes went down, didn't he?
Yeah,
last year. So. And so you've got a good rotation of guys. You've got Everett Johnson coming in from Cal.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how he's a redshirt
boys
junior.
Too. Like Liam, they got him listed at 317.
Yep.
Grimsrud 302. What's Casey at? Casey 309. Jesus.
Yeah.
Pamphilov 293. Yeah, we got some meat up there. Yeah. And Pamphilov was that Swiss Army knife last year. We just kind of put him wherever we wanted. So
yep.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about the O-line. Have you heard who's got center yet? I'm not sure who's playing center.
And that's the only thing is I think that's where you could get in trouble with a new quarterback. Forbes was that steel cage, man. He did everything for us. He was the brain in the middle of the line. I've heard they were doing 3 or 4 people. I've heard that McCabe is going up for it. I heard Klimzak is doing it. I've heard Brown is also doing it. The only thing with that is the center position, you want to be able to move and be able to handle the ball a little bit. You don't want somebody too big. There.
Some of these big guys can move pretty well too. So
true. And so
it'll be interesting to see who gets. I mean, so I'm actually heading to Missoula this week, and I was planning on trying to go by a practice just to see
there you go.
a little bit. I did find out today though, because of Pearl Jam on Wednesday, they're actually going to practice in the Dome for the first time.
Oh, really?
And I was hoping to get in, but they are closing it to QB Club members and everybody. It's because it's still partially under construction. But yeah, they're going to be practicing in the new bubble
on Wednesday, huh?
On Wednesday, yep.
That's
Otherwise,
cool.
We'll be at Dorm Blazer for the rest of the week. So I think, Thursday or Friday, I'm going to go try to.
Are you going to Pearl Jam?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I'm leaving tomorrow to head that direction. So
that is awesome, dude.
Yeah,
I'm jealous.
I'll be in Wagriz here later this week watching Pearl Jam, and instead that's why I think I'm gonna go try to catch some practice just to go see if I can see how everybody's doing and stuff, and they're throwing the ball around. Yeah, so
that'd be awesome. Yeah, I think that with a new quarterback, I think if they can get a solidified center position, I think that's going to help us. If we don't, that's one area that I think that could kind of hinder us from making the leaps that we could have.
Yeah, that's the spot where you don't want to have. I mean, like rotating guard and tackle. I mean, it is what it is. But that center is, that's the one where you want you got to have that comfort between him and the quarterback. Even though we don't take a lot of under center snaps, you still need that. Like you said, they're the quarterback of the offensive line. They're usually calling out, the blocking formations and stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. We got a lot of talent up front though too, and so. Yeah.
Well, and if you look at the guys, we've got 18 offensive linemen, which is an area that you were worried about. It's
in years past it was always kind of that question mark. So
other than wide receiver and probably safety, it's one of the highest that we have, because I know that wide receiver they have 15. And I think offensive lineman, there's 18, and I haven't counted since we haven't done our defensive podcast. I think safety is high up there as well.
Yeah, safety is way high up there. I mean, that's like I mentioned, like Hawks doesn't seem worried about safety. I mean, really, when it comes to, we're not talking a bunch of defense, but D-line is the only big question mark still that I've got a little bit, just because how do you replace the big man up, in the center, Gubbs? And he's kicking ass in the NFL right now.
He's doing so well.
He's looking really good for KC. So, and that's just he's a generational talent there who's hard to replace. Yeah. So we've got some guys, and I mean, I think we'll do well there. Again, I think we were still playing that 3-3-5, but if we talked about last year, we would rotate into a lot of 4-man fronts and stuff, and so. Even though that's our base, we're doing a lot of changing up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But we can dive into more of that time next time.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I think that center position, the defensive line, is going to be kind of that where you let's see what's happening. But I think the defensive line, I think we'll get into it, is probably another area where you're like, holy cow, they got a lot of guys over in that area as well, which was kind of an aspect of recruiting to get more guys in that area. Yeah. So
we picked up some new people. So
well, guys, like always, we will do a defensive podcast probably next week. So get us your questions that you guys have. We'll do a question kind of part of it as well. But make sure this
we'll also
really
have to get into Missouri State next week too, because it's game week next week. So
exactly, because that is game week. Holy cow, that's
game week next week. Yeah, so we'll have to we'll review the defense, but we're gonna have to get into Missouri State too, because it's game week. So
gosh, man, that's gonna come so fast. But we'll do that. But also just make sure that you guys rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. That gets us out there a whole lot more. It gets us out to more people so that they can know about the podcast. Subscribe to the FCS Fans Nation podcast on YouTube and find some other good podcasts as well there. And as always, you guys can reach us on Twitter at Fight On Montana. Luke's there. I'm there as well. And you guys can always get us on Facebook as well. So
absolutely.
We like to converse with you guys. Definitely shout out to us. We love doing this.
And if you're going to Pearl Jam and you see me, say hi. We can chat football. So
that's right. I'm so jealous.
There's gonna be a lot of Grizz fans going to be at that concert.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next week, we will see you guys later.
Go Grizz.